Hey, welcome aboard to Shootin' It with Samuel G. We're going to do more than shoot it this week, though. We're going to aim and we're going to fire. Again, we're going straight up the road. Big stuff happening in Eaton. Jim Danley finds out today the Eaton School District doesn't want anything to do with him, and he finds out by reading it online. That ain't right. And I'll tell you what's really sad about this whole situation, other than the fact it was mishandled from the beginning, is the fact that this whole thing has really taken away some attention from people who deserve attention up in Eaton. How about that girls' volleyball team? Hasn't lost yet. Wynn Forrester has got Terrence Sigg and Caden Rexius just pounding on people. It doesn't look like they're going to get beat unless something out of the ordinary happens. This team could three-peat, and that doesn't happen too often. Kudos to the Eaton girls' volleyball team. And, of course, the Jim Danley situation has kind of taken away their thunder. But let's get back to that situation. Sad, sad day. It just, I don't know. I'm not going to get in the middle of it because my colleague Bobby Fernandez knows everything about this inside and out, and I think he's really helped our readers try to understand it. But to me, it just isn't right. And I really hope that Eaton, when they hire a new coach, does the right thing. I don't think that anything has been done right in this process so far. The right thing, you've got to go out of state. You got to bring somebody in here that has no ties to this program whatsoever and let it start from the bottom up. That's the only way I think this thing can settle and they can move forward. Somebody that has no ties to this program, has no ties to the community, nothing. Let that be established from the bottom up. Hey, let's stay right at home here. Greeley West football team would shut out Greeley Central tonight. It looks like the Spartans may be for real. I think unless they suffer some injuries, they're on a pretty good roll here, and I think that they're better than people have given them credit for. And hopefully they can keep this going because we're heading toward the middle of the season now when things start shaking out. And I'll tell you what, Greeley West program is right about back where it was several years ago. And if they can keep it going, we may have something to really look forward to in the playoffs. Let's go up on the hill to our friends, University of Northern Colorado, and let's go with football. On the road, Sac State. On paper, yeah, a team that UNC matches up pretty well with, but a team that's got a good running back, and UNC has not stopped anybody on the ground. Whether they want to say that they're staying the course, doing this, doing that. I said it last week, every game is a must-win for this program right now, whether they want to admit it or not. Another loss, and of course things start snowballing. What's this team need to do? I'll tell you what this team needs to do. They need to learn how to win. I don't think it's a talent thing. I don't think it's bad matchups, mismatches. You have that in any week. And like Ernest Collins said, it comes down to my Joe and Willie's being stronger than your Joe and Willie's. Okay, well, I think that evens itself out. This team needs to learn from a mental standpoint how to win, how to not get behind, take control of the game from the beginning, and learn how to win. Lindsay Oates and her volleyball team up there had a heart-to-heart meeting on Monday after dropping their first two Big Sky Conference games on the road last week. And she said last night, after a win at home that they needed to have, that they really talked about getting this thing going again, turn around and get back on the right track. And you know what? They looked pretty good last night against Montana State. Not one of the big hitters in the Big Sky Conference, but good enough to come in here and make UNC answer the call, and they did. Now, if the Bears can keep that rolling, hopefully by middle of November, they'll be back where they need to be. But this team has some growing pains, and I think those pains are getting less and less as the season goes on. Let's go to the pros right now and talk a little bit about maybe the Broncos. Are they really a 3-0 team? I don't know. I just read and watched some video and so forth. This team is not a 3-0 team. Why? They don't have a running game. And I don't care if it's a pass-happy NFL. You still have to establish some sort of a ground game. And this team hasn't done that yet. How long will they stay pounding against a brick wall trying to get a running game going? I think they need to until they establish it to a certain point. It's not going to be a big running team. Peyton Manning is what it is. You got to let him throw the football, change things at the line of scrimmage, and go from there. How well will the Broncos do against the Minnesota Vikings? Well, I'll tell you what, there's one thing they have to do, and that's to be able to compete. They got to stop Adrian Peterson. If you don't stop Adrian Peterson, the Vikings are going to chew up the clock, chew up the ground, and keep themselves in the game. This could be another one of those fourth quarter games where Denver has to prove whether it's undefeated or just hasn't really faced anybody yet. And let's talk for a second about the baseball playoffs. They're all set now, pretty much. A couple wild card teams still waiting to get in. But I'll tell you what, if I was a betting man, and I'm really not, you might think I am, but I'm not. I really like the way the St. Louis Cardinals know how to compete in the National League, and I think that because they know how to develop pitching, they've got pitching staff that's doing well right now, I think that team is going to be one to watch for in the National League. And in American League, boy, it's coming down to two teams that I love to watch play because they play the game with enthusiasm and they have fun. The Toronto Blue Jays are a team to be reckoned with. Don't kid yourself. And the Kansas City Royals are still hungry. Those two teams, I think, are equal and can match up with anybody in the National League. So we'll see how this pans out in the next few weeks. And, by October, we'll have a World Series champion. By next week, we'll have a lot more to talk about. I'll see you then.